The last couple of classes, we have been looking at the applications of polynomial functions. In each case, there was a function given that modeled the relationship between the two quantities in the problem. The question that some of you have asked is where the functions came from in the first place. Today, we will answer that question. In order to analyze data, we first need to collect the data through experiments or surveys. These usually look like a table of values. You may see X and Y values, and we'd list out all our data. Once the data is collected, it is graphed. So we take a graph. Here's all our X values. These are also called the independent values, and then we have our Y values. Those are called the dependent values. We plot those points, and they may not fall in a nice straight line, but we plot all of those points. Then we are going to use our graphing calculator to figure out the equation of a line that passes through the majority of these points. It doesn't have to hit every single point. So we can see that if I draw a line moving up in that direction, it passes as close as possible to most of those points. This line is called a best fit line. The graph was called a scatter plot. That was all the points. Oops, sorry, that's an O, the scatter plot. So we have a scatter plot and a best fit line. So today we're going to use our graphing calculator to figure out how to do this. What numbers do we have to punch? What keys do we have to use on our graphing calculator to get a scatter plot and then the best fit line? Okay, now I'm going to get my graphing calculator. I'm going to show us how to input our data. So I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to clear out this stuff. We don't need that. All right. So first of all, we need to plot some points. We need to get our data. I'm going to use the example on page 402 of your textbook. All right. So to enter the data, we're going to hit Stat and Edit. It's already on Edit, so I hit Enter. You see we have a whole list of data points here. Well, I have some stuff in there that I don't want, so I'm going to scroll up, and we can hit the Clear button, and then when we scroll down, that data list is gone. I'm going to do the other one on the other side, hit Clear, and those data points are gone. So now I can enter new data into this list. And I do that just by typing in on my graphing calculator. So I'm going to use 1996, 1998, hit Enter. You can see the data is going in. 1999 and 2002, 2003, 2004, 2007, 2008, and 2009. If I use the arrow to the left, I can scroll into the next list, and I can put in all the distances from this question. 78.04, 79.14, 81.16. So this is just the question on page 402 of your textbook. 83.72. In 2004, 84.22. We have 86.77. Sorry, straighten that out again. 2008, 87.12. This is the longest it's going to take here. And now we have our data. I want to plot these points. Well, you'll notice right up by y equals, we have something called stat plot. So I'm going to go second function, stat plot. Now we have a whole list of plots, and I can see 4 here. I'm going to make sure that we go up to number 1, and I'm going to, up to number 1. And I'm going to make sure this one is turned on. You can see the cursor here is on the on. Hit enter. That's turned on. Underneath that, we have a whole bunch of other stuff. We have, this is our scatter plot. That's the one we're going to use. But you can see there's a broken line graph, and there's a histogram, and some other stuff for stats. The calculator will assume that list 1 is your x variables, and they'll put that on the x-axis. List 2 is the y variables. We can change that later if we had more lists and we wanted a whole bunch of different graphs. But right now we're just going to have list 1 and list 2. You can also see at the bottom we can also change how we're going to plot those points, as a circle, as a little plus sign, or maybe just a dot. Let's keep it as the circle. So our plot is on. Now we can't see anything. So I'm going to zoom in, and if we scroll down, there is one, number 9, is zoom stat. This is our statistics. It will zoom in on all those statistics. I hit enter, and there is all our statistics. All right, now this has all the points. What it doesn't have is our line. So we want the calculator to find that line of best fit. All right, so now how do we do that? Let's go back to stat, but now instead of editing, we're going to scroll over to calculate. Now there's a whole bunch of different things here about what it will calculate with those stats. So the first couple, 1 variable and 2 variables, it's going to give you mean, median, standard deviation, that sort of stuff. If we scroll down, we also have linear regressions, quadratic regressions, and cubic and quartic regressions as well. So a regression equation is just a calculation that is done to find that best fit line. Now our data, let me just go back quickly. There's our graph. Our data almost looks like a straight line. It's going up and to the right. So we're going to use a linear regression, and all our graphs today will be linear regressions. So stat, calculate, we're going to a linear regression. Then I hit enter. The calculator shows me a linear regression. It even shows me ax plus b. That's like mx plus b, but I don't know why it doesn't use an m. So it's telling you this is the formula, and this is the program that it's going to run. So I hit enter, and it does the calculation, and it tells me here's A and here's B. This is the variables that will form our best fit line. Now at this point I could go to y equals and just type in this information. I can go to y equals, I'm going to delete that big one out there, but I can go in here and I can just type in whatever that A value was or whatever that B value was. I want the calculator to do that for me, just so I can keep as many of these decimal places as we can. I'm going to let the calculator do that. So, backing up here, I'm going to go to y equals. Now, instead of typing in, I'm going to go here to variables, vars. I hit vars. This tells me where do you want to get those variables from. Well, this is all the statistics that I had. So I scroll down to number 5, hit enter. We are doing an equation, so I need to scroll over to equation. There is a regression equation. I hit enter, and it puts all that data into my calculator. Okay, now when we hit graph, it draws the line for us. Okay, I'm going to stop there. We'll continue with this example in the next video.